What up, YouTube fam? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? So basically, I just want to do a talking video, so that's what I'm gonna do today. I more so got motivated to do this because I'm no longer working at this job anymore. I got a new job, so I was like, why not talk about it? So basically, by the title of this video, this is going to be about health insurance. I am 20 years old. My birthday is in April, and during my 20 years of living, I worked for a health insurance company. I'm not going to say their name because I don't want to put them like on blast, but basically I just want to talk about health insurance because I feel like the government needs to do something. Like, honestly, like, this is people's lives, and you're supposedly gonna get penalized for not having health insurance, so why not make it more educatable and like better for a state? I didn't work for health insurance for Oklahoma. I do live in Oklahoma, but I did not do health insurance for Oklahoma. So I don't know if it's like this in every single state. I don't know if like other states' health insurance like is more knowledged or more helpful, but this state was for the state of Massachusetts. So yeah, let's start talking about it. Literally the only good thing about this whole health insurance thing is that basically the only good thing is if you actually get somebody that knows what the fuck they're doing and actually wants to help you, which does not happen often. So yeah, that's literally the only good thing. So I'm just gonna kind of go in the process of health insurance. So basically, I don't know, once again, like throughout this whole video, I don't know if it's like this for every single state or like if it's different or if it's better, but basically my personal opinion and what I went through is what this video is going to be about. So they trained us for 4 weeks. So 4 weeks we had training, 8 to 5, and the training wasn't that great. We did not have computers in our training class, so basically it was just a teacher telling us about different systems that we never saw before until we got on the floor. So training, she was a great teacher and she was so nice, and you know, she did the best she could, I guess, but training should have been better. Like, honestly, training, they should at least have like computers in each classroom, and every single time a teacher walks through something or goes through like a what is it called, like a play of what the customer's saying and what you should say, like the computer should be right in front of you so you know exactly what to do. And like there's these things, like basically if your health insurance is rejected or like your health insurance is fucked up in some way, you have to create a case and order to get that person's health insurance back or resolve the problem, whatever the issue is. And they didn't train us on cases, so like when you get out on the floor, you kind of just have to guesstimate on what the fuck this case is for and like if you're doing it right. So training 100% could be better, like 100%. Like they should really each week draw it in your head, each like thing you need to know in order to get on the floor. And then when you get on the floor after the 4th week, they kind of have you listen to people. Like you sit on the side, you have your headset on, and that person that's working there is like doing their little thing, and you have to listen to them and see how they react with the customer or the member. And I just feel like that kind of helps, but not really, because when you're out on the floor for that week, you're just kind of like, I see how they're talking to them, and I kind of see what they're doing and understanding what they're doing, kind of based on what I've been told in class. But I've never seen the actual system or the computer, so I have no idea what the fuck they're doing. So there's that. And like, once you're actually on the floor by yourself, you know, you're doing it, and then you get bitched at by your team lead or your supervisor because you didn't do this right, or you didn't create this case right, or that's not what you're supposed to say. Well, maybe if I got trained better, these problems wouldn't be happening. And like, you'll get a lot of members super pissed off because they get the runaround and they have to constantly call back and forth because each person is telling them a different thing because we're not trained well enough. Like, that's literally it. We don't know, so we make some shit up to make you happy and move forward with our life. And with health insurance, so basically when you are doing your health insurance, like if you're the member, first thing, you know, they're going to ask you for your personal information. If you're filling out an application, you know, have your stuff together, first of all. Make sure you're giving them the correct information because your income does affect the premium, like 100%. If you're getting like any sort of tax credits or help to pay your health insurance, like your income is going to affect the premium. So it's a good thing to have like your exact income in hand and everybody else's that you're getting on your insurance in hand, so that way you are giving them the correct information. And what I would do personally for like, if I was a member like calling to get health insurance, I would ask them to repeat back what I just told them. Like the insurance company person that's helping me, I would ask them to repeat back what I just told them. Honestly, like I would. And then like once that's done and you fill out the application, you got health insurance and they tell you what you're gonna get, you know, ask all the questions about premiums and co-pays and annual deductibles. And if they don't really know exactly what an annual deductible is, or they don't really know what co-pays are, and they're kind of like, well, it's kind of like, or it's maybe like, or it's possibly, or just they have to think about what to say and they sound like they have to think about what they say and they don't sound confident, they probably don't know what the fuck they're doing, honestly. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was this person at the beginning of my job because I had no idea what the fuck I was doing. And yeah, so whenever they kind of sound iffy, or they're saying maybes or possibly or this could be, they don't know what they're doing. And then so when you're done filling out your application, they're going to tell you like what you have or what you're eligible for, whatever. And then like they're like, okay, you're all set to go, this is the one you need to pay. Or maybe they don't even tell you when you need to pay because maybe they don't even know. But I would ask the questions of when's the next payment due, where do I pay, what happens if I don't pay. Like those are the 3 questions I would ask for sure, because if you don't pay by a certain time of the day, so let's say the bill is due on the 23rd and your plan says it'll start the next month on the 1st, but it'll only start on the 1st of the month if you pay that bill on that 23rd day because that is due that day. Or like if it's due that day, it may ask you to make an additional payment because like if you're late like only one day, it's gonna have you pay for the next month. And a lot of members don't know that, so then they get really pissed off, like, why am I getting charged double? Because nobody explained to them that if you're late only by a day, it's gonna have you pay for an additional month. And then like before you get off the phone, I would also ask this person helping you, which honestly, like, we should already be giving you this information. Like, we shouldn't have you ask us or any of that because we should already know to tell you this information, but we just don't know because we're not trained well enough. So basically towards the end of the call, I would ask and make sure that you don't have to send any sort of proofs, like proofs of income, proof of residency, proof of citizenship, just whatever it is. Just make sure that when you pay, this is when you're going to start, and that you don't have to send any sort of proofing, because if you do need to send proofing and that person doesn't tell you and it's really their fault for not telling you, then your insurance is going to get cut off and you're going to be like, what the hell, like, nobody told me this. And then when you call them and tell them that your insurance got cut off and nobody told you about needing to send in this proof or needing to pay on this certain day, they're just going to be like, well, I'm sorry, like, even though it's their fault, it's the company's fault for not telling you, they're just going to be like, well, I can't do anything. If I can't do anything, this is what I can do. And even if they're creating a case to like resolve your problem, they may not even be creating that case professionally or right. So if like you have issues with health insurance and they're needing to create like a refund case or a reinstatement case or a retroactive or a termination, whatever it is, if they're needing to create a case for your problem to be resolved, I would definitely tell them, like, I would tell them, like, hey, just to make sure you're doing this right, do you mind getting a supervisor and making sure they look over it, please? And then, like, if you're rude, like, if you're a rude member, people at my job would hang up on you. Like, if you're being rude to them, they're gonna hang up on you. And that's fucked up. Or if you're being rude to them, they're not even gonna try to help you and just tell you what you want to hear just because you're pissed and they don't want to help you. Like, they're dicks. Like, so if you're a member, I would try not to be rude as best as possible because they have your health insurance in their hands. And if they don't want to help you because you're being rude, that's kind of your fault, but kind of our fault, because really that's not our job to just hang up or just not want to help because you're being rude. So I would just kind of like, if you're one of those people that's rude as fuck, if you're pissed off, which I was one of those people too before I started working there, and I got a little attitude, like they didn't want to help me. So I don't know. What else? And like the systems there kind of sucked ass. Like they only updated once a month, and they're just so confusing. They really are. Like they're really confusing, especially if you're not trained and you kind of have to learn as you go. So if you're getting like a refund or something, I would definitely make sure that they have the correct address on file. What else? Oh, and like pretty much, if you're an upset customer and you're wanting to talk to a supervisor, a team lead, just somebody other than that person because you feel like they're not helping you, or you feel like they're giving you false information, or you've been getting the runaround so much because so many people don't know what the fuck they're talking about that you're tired of talking to these people because they obviously don't know what they're doing, I will tell you right now, for health insurance, they're gonna tell you, they're either gonna say, well, you know, I can get my supervisor, but they're going to tell you the same thing. Or they're going to say, okay, yeah, let me reach out to them real quickly, and it's going to take at least an hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours to actually get a supervisor on the phone. And I can tell you right now that if you're complaining about health insurance and you're wanting to speak to a supervisor, which I have had so many calls where I totally, like, I understand why they're upset, because these people in the past that they've been talking to are telling them bullcrap. Like, they're not telling them the right things, and so they're really pissed off, and I understand, and it's just like they want to get their stuff resolved, and it's been going on for a month or 2 months. And those calls, like, when I ask any sort of call that a member wants to speak to a supervisor, just know, like, third person point of view, like, if you're the member wanting to speak to a supervisor and that person that's helping you says that they're going to get a supervisor, they're going to try to email or reach out to the supervisor, but I can guarantee that the supervisor's either going to say, you resolve the call, which is the worker, so they're going to tell the worker what to say or tell the worker to resolve the call, or they're going to just tell the worker that they're just not available, even though we're all in the same building, and you know, the supervisor is just like an aisle away. They're just going to say they're too busy. I've actually had a supervisor. There was a sweet lady on the phone, and she was like, you know, my insurance got cut off, and I've been dealing for this for like 3 months now, and nobody's been able to help me, and it's like every time I call here, nobody knows what they're doing, and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, I really just want to speak to a supervisor. And I was like, you know, ma'am, I'll get one to you. And so I emailed the supervisor, and she was like, well, I've taken too many calls today, and I don't want to take any more. What? Your job is to help others and to resolve a problem if we can't, you know? So basically, she told me that she was basically lazy as fuck, didn't want to help because she already took too many calls. When most of the time, when I hear her, she's talking about fucking food, or she's talking to somebody else about just life in general. Like, I barely ever hear her actually take calls. So I just feel like that's pure laziness, and that's pretty fucked up. If a member tells you that they don't want to take any more calls because they've just taken too many. Do you want me to tell the member that? Like, because they're going to be pissed off. So, I had to tell the old lady, like, I'm sorry, but at the moment, there's nobody available to take this call. I can do a callback for you. But most of the time, I worked there for 6 months, and I thought I was doing callbacks right on, like, creating a case and doing a callback and letting them know why to call them back. But like, 2 months before I quit, the supervisor was like, why are you doing the callback like this? And I'm just like, that's how I've been doing it the whole time, and nobody's told me nothing. Like, I thought that was the right way, but it was actually the wrong way. So if you have the worker telling you, like, they're gonna create a callback and somebody's gonna call you back, there's a 50% chance that they're possibly doing it wrong without even knowing they're doing it wrong, and you probably won't even get that call back, honestly. So I would stay on the phone as long as possible until you talk to a supervisor, like, for sure, a supervisor. Yes?
What are you doing?
Creating a YouTube video.
Right now?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Love you.
Love you too. Close the door. So yeah, most likely a supervisor's not going to want to help you. Even though health insurance is supposed to, like, want to help you and get your issues resolved, make sure you're all good to go, the supervisor's not going to want to talk to you. Like, they're bitches, they're lazy, and yeah. Not all of them. Not all of them are bitchy and lazy, but most of them just don't want to do their job. And then also, like, it's actually the company too. Like, I've gotten emails out, and they're just, like, emails to everybody, and they're telling us, like, you know, there's too many soup calls, which is, like, too many supervisor calls, and you guys need to stop doing this, and this needs to be lowered. Like, what? It's not our fault that we don't know what we're doing, and so, like, they want to talk to a supervisor. Like, sorry, you should have trained us better. And then, what else? Training sucks. Majority of the people you talk to that help you don't know what they're doing, so you need to ask questions or have them repeat. You'll probably never get a supervisor on the floor. What else? There's been, like, times where, like, I'll tell the member, like, well, the last time you updated this application was February 1st. No, I'm doing a YouTube video.
Oh, shit. Well, here's your phone.
Okay. You know, the last time you updated a video, updated a video. The last time you submitted this application was, like, February 2nd. And they'll be like, I never submitted an application. Nobody ever had my authorization. There's people in there that will literally go through your application without telling you and make it seem on the phone like if they're doing something else or if they're just listening to you. And they'll actually go in your application already and, like, look through your shit and make sure everything's filled out correctly, even though they kind of might not know exactly if it's supposed to be filled out like that. So, like, they'll fill it out or make sure it's filled out and then push submit to resubmit the application without your authorization when they're supposed to read you, like, your rights and responsibilities form or terms and conditions. They're supposed to do that. And so people will be like, well, I never submitted this on this day and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's probably because the CSR or the person that was helping you submitted your application trying to find an error and it didn't find an error, so they submitted it without your authorization. And we're not going to tell them that. We're going to just fight our right and say, well, you did, sir, or you did, ma'am, and I'm sorry, but this is what this says. And then, like, people get really upset because you're supposed to do a call log every single call you do to, like, write notes on, like, what you told this member or how you resolved the problem or just, like, really what went on in the call. And 50%, I can tell you, don't really actually log the calls. And so, like, if your plan got canceled and you call us and say, well, you know, the last person I talked to said that, you know, it would start this day and blah, 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 and I'd be fine. Or, like, the last person I talked to said I could get a refund and blah, 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 but they didn't log the call. So we're just going to tell you, well, I'm sorry, but there's no call log here, so we can't just take you by your word, basically. And that's pretty fucked up because that's really on our end. And even the members will say, well, that's on your end. It's not my fault. and your whatever isn't doing their job correctly, which is correct. Like, that is so true, but I can't sit there and actually tell them that. So I just have to sit here and be like, well, I'm sorry, but there's no information about this, and da-da-da-da, and so I'm sorry, but I can't help you based on your word, and blah, 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 blah. And it's really just us not doing our job, or us not being trained enough to not know how to do our job. So honestly, Massachusetts, I would totally do like a, what is it, like a strike thing, or like some sort of like post-ups, and tell the government, like, you guys need to train our health insurance better, because we get the runaround, we don't get the correct information, and supervisors don't want to talk to you. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, but they don't. I don't know. It's probably like that everywhere, honestly. Like, supervisors are right there, but they don't want to talk to the member. What else? What else? Oh, and like, it's kind of fucked up because, like, so there's like this like different like company that works with the company. So basically, if you have like a complaint, then you can complain to them and write them a mail, like a letter or something. And I didn't know this because I was generally one of the people that try to help the members, even if they were super pissed off. I would really go deep in depth to figure out what the problem is. And if they were so pissed off because they were getting that runaround and they were getting incorrect information, and we can't really help them because so many people are giving them incorrect information that it fucked up their application, I would give them the complaint mailing address and say, well, I'm really sorry that, there's not a supervisor available, and I'm really sorry that I can't really help you, and so many people were telling you different things, but, here's the complaint mailing address, and I'll direct them online directly where to find it at, so that way they can complain, get their issue resolved, and have a good health insurance. And I was told by a supervisor that if we give them the complaint mailing address, that like puts off a point or whatever for us for giving them that information, which I don't fully understand, because these people are trying to get help from supervisors that don't want to talk to them or just aren't available. So if a supervisor can't help, we're not trained enough to give them the correct information, or we actually know the information and we're trying to tell them what's really going on, and they just don't believe us because they were being told so many different things. Like, they're gonna want to complain. If they can't complain to a supervisor, then what do you do? Like, I'm trying to help them, so I just don't really understand why it's gonna pull off a point for us on like not a good call if we give them the complaint mailing address if nobody else wants to help them. Like, I'm trying to help them, so I'm gonna, go ahead and complain. Like, I totally understand that people have been telling you this and that, and you can't get a supervisor. Like, I get it, so here, complain, please do. Like, I don't know. Health insurance is crazy because I honestly feel like, personally, like, the government should most definitely have better trained people on the floor, not just anybody. And I really do, like, I feel like the government is kind of shitty for not having people that are fully trained on the floor to help these people for health insurance. Like, that's just not, I don't get that. And it's kind of stupid that, like, you have to have health insurance for the year or you'll get penalized in your W-2 form or whatever, yet they have like an open and closed enrollment for when you can't apply for health insurance. Like, that doesn't really help anybody out. Like, what? Like, the government wants me to have health insurance, and the president wants me to have health insurance so I don't get penalized, but yet they have these rules when I can and when I can't get health insurance for the year. I don't know. I just feel like it's all fucked up. I think that's it. I feel like there might be more, but for the most part, I would just watch out for your health insurance. And yeah. I don't know. I guess that's it. I hope this is kind of helpful. Like, if you're young applying for health insurance, you kind of know, like, okay, well, is this person telling me the correct information? Like, you know to ask these questions. Or if you're trying to get a supervisor, like, okay, well, I really know that your supervisor is like just leaving you standing because I'm pretty sure they're like really close to you. I hope this is kind of helpful. I don't know, I just kind of wanted to talk today and get a YouTube video up. So like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.